Hey y'all, Bearded Rose Golf Show. Back at it again. Let me adjust my camera here. A little bit off. Looks like we switched our configuration this week, so Marcus in the driver's seat.
Very
I'm
strange.
Rod. I'm
I'm
Rod.
Marcus.
Welcome in,
I'm
y'all.
Marcus.
So we got the Olympics going on this week. That's really the big story and our cover story for today as well. Just seeing those gents go out there on a really tough course, as we were just talking about, water pretty much on every hole. May not always be in play. The rough is roughing. A lot of lies where you're not able to really see the top of the ball from at least the camera views that we're able to see. And then ultimately, really a competitive leaderboard throughout the week.
Yep.
Um, yeah, just names that you know, some names that were left off the rosters just due to one being full, but also some stuff around live and depending on what your country's. I think they were all going by the official world golf ranking. So some people ended up doing okay in that, and then others being left out. But ultimately, I think the result would have been what it ended up being,
Yeah.
which was Scottie Scheffler ultimately pulling it out, doing Scottie Scheffler things on the final day of a tournament, pulling a 62, a 9 under 62 final round clutch just shots, the one that we were texting about, which was, 17 out of the rough, putting it underneath the hole, then making the putt. Also, 18, very clutch to hit the green coming out of the rough on that kind of
Yeah.
island green as well. No let up in his game. There was no chance he was going to lay up in that situation with a one stroke lead, ultimately winning over Tommy Fleetwood, who had to make his own clutch par putt to clutch the silver, and Hideki Matsuyama pulling in with the bronze, one stroke behind those two guys, or stroke behind Fleetwood. So, what'd you think about the golf, and how much did you? I only started watching for me personally the last couple of days. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot on Thursday and Friday, but definitely pulled up yesterday and today.
Yeah. So Thursday I was off. Watched a lot of golf that day. Luckily they kept replaying it. It was a lot of that. So but I felt like this really captivated a lot of different, you know, people, not really like a certain audience. I feel like this was the first time where it wasn't just, you know, our people watching it, golfers and stuff like that. It made it
Yeah.
outside of the niche sport audience. And so like it just really I felt like it was a really good experience for all the golfers involved. And I think that's what made it so much easier for people to play better, or just go out and have a good time out there, because this was for a country. It wasn't for any money or anything like that. It was a lot of pride involved. It was a lot of patriotism involved. So just overall a great product. I felt like the commentating was good. I felt like the coverage was good. I felt like we didn't really get a lot of overrun. We saw a lot of different players out there. The weekend's going to be the weekend, and we're going to see leaders. We're not going to really see the scraps behind, but Friday, Thursday, when it was, everybody had a chance to, see how it was going to go, we saw a lot of it. So it's not like one person was favored over the other. It wasn't like that. So I felt like that was a really good job that they did there. And then um as far as the winning and the competing goes, Scotty is just this really brings it back in. And I think after this, I think Scotty just really sealed the deal for player of the year again. I feel like that took it back
even even
over.
even though it's not directly associated with the PJ Tour, but I get you. It was a
Right.
clear contrast between him and not a contrast because Xander still had a very good showing, but just kind of stumbled down the
Yeah, he
home
just
stretch
stumbled
there.
down that back nine and really just didn't have anything for. But they got steamrolled. There was a perfect frame of what happened. Like you saw it. Um, John Rahm was 19 under. Scotty Scheffler was 14 under at the bottom of the first page, and that was entering the back nine for everybody. And then you saw what happened. So I think that was just the
Yeah,
the that's really all you need to show. How it started, how's it going, and then just show Scottie with the gold medal. Because I mean, that's really the story of the back nine and really what happened on Sunday. He just caught a flame and then damn near walked 17 in. He fist pumped it in for real, but he knew he was draining that. That was unreal.
He knew it. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. He could tell he got in the zone. And Rahm at one point actually had gotten his lead to 4 strokes and was
Yeah.
20
Ramen got
under
to 20,
one
huh?
out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, and so I think we had a video last week with Rom and just kind of him getting frustrated. He had it going in the front nine. He was draining every single putt.
Yeah.
I want to say that there was a really, I forget the whole number. I'm mad at myself for forgetting. I want to say it was 16, but it was really a very direct comparison because a few holes before, Scottie had come through that area and gotten onto the green with they were off the green, chipping from a similar spot. It was the one where Rom double bogeyed it.
14.
Yeah. So Scheffler was able to get it up on the green, get up and down, clear display of his short game, while Rom came up short, came back down to the intermediate cut of rough, and then chipped it past, wasn't able to make his comebacker for the bogey, ended up
Right.
pulling double bogey. Same hole, same situation, and you saw 2 strokes separating the two gentlemen there. So I think just because we had country on the line, it was appropriate to finally root against John Rahm without feeling guilty. It has no
True.
live involved. Just I didn't want to see him win. I wanted to see Xander or Scheffler. After a while, it looked like Schauffele had a better chance of doing that.
Right.
But again, Scottie doing Scottie things and really was able to do what we've come to expect. If you see him on the leaderboard, you start looking over your shoulder. That
Just
is
know
what
he's
it has
coming.
become.
Pause.
just, bro.
Golly. I said pause
Man, it was.
immediately.
I know. You had to go there though. But I mean, ultimately, let's pull up this video because I think again, you see him composed, but then again, you see the fighting for your country.
Oh yeah. That's a chills
Bro,
moment for real.
yeah, man, those are real tears. And it's like
That's
that
a chills
moment.
moment.
He's sitting there chilling, and then thinking about
Yeah.
winning a gold medal. It's just different. And I
Yeah.
think as a contrast, I saw a article about Matt Fitzpatrick pulling out after the third round. Homeboy shot a 73 and then went 63 and then 81. Pulled out citing a thumb. Questionable, but also in referencing that mention, oh, it's not every golfer's dream to win a gold medal. I call bullshit on that, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you're out there putting it on for your country, you want to win the gold. If you're
Yeah.
any kind of competitor, now is it maybe your only? No, you want to win majors. I'm sure of that. But you cannot say that winning a gold would not mean a lot to you for your country. And so
Right.
I didn't like that. I mean, I generally tend to like Matt Fitzpatrick a lot and where he comes from and just his story. He seems like a very likable guy from what we've seen from Full Swing. But that just didn't ring true to me because again, you see it right there. You saw, also Tommy Fleetwood and Hideki Matsuyama up on that medal stand and what that meant to those gentlemen as
Yeah.
well. This means something to fight and play for your country. It's bigger than you. You got people cheering you on from afar. Just kind of a parallel story. The young lady who won the 100-meter, sprint from St. Lucia, and you see a
Yeah.
country of 200,000 just losing their stuff behind her. That's just something different than just only playing for yourself week in and week out. So it just has a different feel to it.
Right. I mean, I like you can't sit here and say that doesn't give you like something to fight for when you go to the Olympics to fight to play for your country because people are going to forget you were a golfer and a major winner because everybody's not a golf fan. but everybody is an Olympic fan and a fan of their country, whether it be at a small time or only for the Olympics. But everybody's a fan of the team that they fight for the Olympics. So they're gonna remember you more for that than anything. They probably will forget that Scottie Scheffler went to jail, that he won majors and stuff like that. But they're not gonna forget that he won a gold. I'm kidding, because everybody's gonna. I mean,
This
it's
is yeah.
Scotty,
This
the
see
nicest
yeah.
guy
This
on the planet, went to
I
jail.
know. Have having
Everybody gonna
having
remember that shit.
having a season of a lifetime. So yeah, we'll remember it. And
And
yeah, but we absolutely get your point for sure.
thank you.
I think it's just I don't know. It's crazy. Like you said, the patriotism comes through differently. You find
Yeah,
it's just this 2 week stretch where we're seeing sports that we don't typically see. People who have. I think it's just cool to see people who have dedicated themselves in certain sports that you don't see week in and week out. Go and put it all on the line every 4 years. That's just different, and they've done a
facts.
really a really good job with the coverage, and the encore coverage has been really good. The time slot's not great. I mean, in terms of the time difference, if you have nothing to do in the beginning part of your day, cool, you're able to get a lot of it live.
Yeah,
But I've been playing a lot of catch up in the evenings and just trying to be selective about what I'm able to consume. Gymnastics, swimming, the track stuff is typically what gets my eyes. Basketball, when it gets down to the medal rounds, will always catch me as well. Caught a little bit of the ladies today, but yeah,
yeah,
man, Olympics, I love it. It's kind of like when World Cup comes around as well. I'm locked in on that for as long as it goes on. It's just a different level of intensity, and
yeah,
it's palpable. You can feel it. So yeah, shout out to the Olympics and Scotty Scheffler adding another accomplishment to his long line of accomplishments, man. It's getting kind of crazy.
right.
Now he's got to go on a major run where he's winning something other than the Masters. We get it. He's got an eye for the Masters, for Augusta National. We need to see him do it on other venues and other majors. So that's really the next step in kind of solidifying his greatness and status amongst his peers. But I think they see it. I
Yeah,
think they feel it. So the corresponding story, and we kind of mentioned this off air, and we had talked about this weeks ago, is the kind of precipitous fall of Wyndham Clark, and he was able to qualify this year through through the world rankings or whatnot. But after 2023, won the U.S. Open, came back, had a chance at the Players this year, but ultimately, we've seen Wyndham Clark really struggle with his game. You mentioned and sent me a video, which I'll link when we repost this particular clip of the tinkering of Wyndham Clark, and really week in and week out, he's doing something to his clubs that are changing it up. And I get it. Depending on where you're playing, you may do something different, but he's doing it at a level where it just I don't know. It just feels like it'd be hard to catch a rhythm, and also necessarily you wouldn't be able to pick out any swing flaws that you have going on and changing up based on your equipment. What do you think about his tinkering and then the struggles that we've seen from him, and again illuminated in this year's Olympics?
yeah. It's just an unfortunate brain jam up, I guess you could say. I mean, he's a mental guy, and mental health is important to him. So he's got that side, pretty much organized. But as far as it goes for the pure golf side, he's got a lot of golf thoughts still going through his head, especially with not a designated golf coach. Nobody's saying that you need to have, a full-time golf coach, swing coach, things that work on your mechanics and things like that. But at some point or another, you need to have somebody other than your buddy or your caddy look at the swing and tell you what's up, honestly and professionally. So whether that be somebody that is just big time, and you just want to have like a Chris Como or a Sean Foley, needless to say, Butch Harmon, hey, just come look, just tell me what I need to know, you know, and that's the thing. These coaches will tell you what you want to know. They'll go down and they'll be specific with the numbers if you want it to be like that. They'll just tell you what it visually looks like and what it needs to look like or feel like. Because we all know as golfers, feel versus real is a completely truthful thing. And that's one thing that we
Yeah.
have to, live with and understand and be able to, mentally understand that. And Wyndham Clark is a major winner. So he knows that to some sense. But at the same point, if he's just out here just feeling it around the whole time and another thing, you don't have to be Nelly Corda. You don't have to have 1,500 videos of your swing, but at least have like, okay, the swing is not feeling good. Let me get a view of it. Let me see what it looks like. Okay, the swing is feeling pure. It's coming out of the window that I wanted. Let me get a view. Let me see so I can compare and contrast. Something of that
Yeah.
nature. But at some point, you're gonna have to stop tinkering the clubs and just go to see somebody and see what's going on with the swing. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with playing one shot shape. There's nothing wrong with doing the tinkering
Which
at a small level.
which he's a big cut guy, and
Right.
that's his go-to
You
shot.
can live with
I don't.
that.
Yeah, right. I mean, most pros do play the cut. I mean, I would say I'd say most can work it left, both right to left and left to right with the irons. But it seems, and cut with the driver. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting to see because when you look at his swing aesthetically, right? I mean, that's functionality and aesthetically are two different things. I get it, but the swing looks functionally good, and
Right.
it's an attractive swing. I just don't know why his results have been so far off this year. It could be mental, like you mentioned right off the top of it. He does tend to seem like he's an overthinker, and I don't know if that's what public perception is. When I read comment sections that are about posts or social media posts about Wyndham Clark, people tend to hate him, and I don't necessarily get the hate aspect
Right.
of it. I
Agreed.
don't get those feels, the cringy vibes that people are getting about him. I don't get that. I don't understand the dislike. Maybe somebody that's out there watching could say that, but I'm like looks totally fine to me and doesn't say anything that's completely out of pocket or weird. But again, the results got to be the results, and I think it's worth mentioning. On this as a side note, Bryson DeChambeau, as per normal, out there vocally wishing he could have made the Olympic team. It's a dream of his. He wasn't able to play in 2021 due to having COVID at the time and just kind of had to drop out. This year he would have qualified with points. So I'm not sure what's going on. There. I shouldn't say what's going on. Rephrase that. Back up. I just don't. I kind of hate that he's so vocal about it, but it is a spot that he could have had,
Is
ultimately.
it?
And yeah, I mean, with his U.S. Open win, he was pretty close up there in the world official world golf ranking. It's kind of like he got that big bump that
He did,
Kepka
but
got
he
last
still
year.
was outside of Wyndham. I mean, Wyndham is like
Yeah.
7 or 8 still somehow, and DeChambeau is 9.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I know.
So either way, I mean, you try to throw him a bone or something like that, but he's still not in the top 4. And we had the most chances. We were the only country that had 4 golfers in there once again. So it's not like he didn't have an opportunity. Bro, you just need to like cut the YouTube stuff and go play the Asian tour. If you're really that hungry and hurt about not having the points, go find a tour to play on that you can get you some points. Otherwise, be
Yeah.
quiet and go make your money over there like you're doing. That's the part that's aggy to me. You, we've already gone. We don't need to say you know what you signed up for. But points wise, you litigation has already downed y'all twice. So you need to find other avenues to make your world ranking points. It's straight up.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
point blank.
So
Period.
top 10 right now on the OWGR. Scottie Scheffler, number one. Xander Schauffele, two. Rory, three. Ludwig Aber, number four. Wyndham Clark, five. Colin
And then
Morikawa,
Morikawa,
six.
yeah,
Yep. Vic Hovland, seven. Pat Cantlay, eight. Bryson DeChambeau. So he had to hop two people. Um, Shambo, number nine. And then John Rahm was number 10.
You're right. So what
So
we talking?
yeah, you gotta live with it, man. Again, you live with
You
the
weren't even
choices,
good
which
enough to
is
be better than Patrick Cantley. So let's stop.
which is that'll segue into kind of our next story, or kind of a story, which is Joaquin Neiman. He is fighting, to get into majors. He didn't really have a lot of exceptions because he's never won a major. He was getting in on invites this year.
Yeah.
Some exceptions were made for him to get into the. He outright got into the Open
Yeah.
Championship, but PGA, was it the PGA Masters for sure?
The
And I
Masters.
forget. I want to say it was the PGA that he was also given an invite into. The Open, U.S. Open was the one that he was not given an invite to. So he was able to get into three of the four. Looks like he's going to plot a similar path. I wish there was more live guys that were vocal about trying to go that path. He understands he's going to have to pay some more fines, etc. But clearly, it's kind of you're paying your way to get entry into these other events, and that's just kind
Yeah.
of again the situation that you've set up for yourself. And I think he's been outspoken, and I have to give him a bit of a pass because I know English is not his first language. Sometimes when he comes across, it's a bit whiny. I think there's some language, just different things that he's not necessarily
Yeah.
comfortable with saying that come across kind of assholish. That I'm kind of like, okay, bro. But yeah, man. What do you think about him? And like I said, I wish other players. We mentioned the Rom thing. He needs to do that for Ryder Cup purposes next year.
Ryder
But
Cup.
what do you think
Yeah.
about this situation?
Um, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for him, especially since he's a young guy. He's got plenty of years to live a life. So for now, you need to be chasing the tour. Whether you're out here like you did last year and went to the Sunshine Tour, or not the Sunshine Tour, he went to the Australasian Tour. So he did the Sandbelt
Yeah,
and was all over there like in Thanksgiving and stuff when we were home. So again, you got a long off season. You got about 5 months off, so you got plenty of time to get you some golf in while your main season isn't going. You got to take advantage. You don't have a little baby. You don't have a toddler. You, I mean, whether you have a significant other or not, she can definitely travel with you because you got the money for it. So again, you're unattached to anything that's important. You're already not in the country of Chile every time that you come home. So again, there's no excuse for that. So I think you need to chase it while you can, since you're young and you got all the finances that are available. And when the litigation happens or whatever for the merger, whether that be next year or the year after that in 2026, like they've been talking about, then maybe you'll be able to get that break or whatnot, and you'll be able to have a home. You'll be able to fly out of somewhere and play stateside somewhere, and then go over and play a few events for live, whether they not be sanctioned or combined, however it may be. But I just, you know, he knows what he needs to do. So whether he wants to complain or not, he'll be all right. He has plenty of
yeah,
time and he has plenty of years behind him of prime golf with his homemade swing. So it's not like his body's going to break down. It's not like, the functionality of his swing is going to change up dramatically. He's going to be in a good frame of mind in a good space golf wise for a long time. So
yeah.
he'll be
I think
okay.
the one thing that he mentioned from the article, or at least alluded to, is that it didn't seem like the negotiations between PGA Tour and Live Golf, or I shouldn't say Live, but really the Saudi PIF, seemed to be going well. He didn't put a lot of hope in that pathway happening. He just
Yeah.
mentioned that it's looking kind of bleak, and I think that's true. I mean, we haven't heard anything about it in quite some time.
Right.
Since the PGA Tour was able to secure additional funds, they've seemed flush and really have not seemed to be threatened by the live guys. We have not seen the defections as we saw in previous years. And yeah, we're going to go through an off season and whatnot. But after really the John Rahm, Terrell Haddon wave, that was it, man. It's been
Yeah.
really quiet, and we've talked about their lack of talent on the back half of their league and them really needing to get more players to actually make it legit because the guys that they're filling in on the back third of Live is, honestly pretty poor and
Yeah.
would not be able to make it on the PGA Tour at all. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Just always interesting when those type of articles come out around what they're going to do in the off season as they only have two events left in their season this year.
I
Let's
mean, what are they gonna do? Pull Nick Whitney out?
bro, maybe
Bill
some
Haas,
guys
come.
from
Bill Haas, come
may-
make some money.
maybe some of these guys we're about to discuss. So, a couple of years ago, the PGA Tour made a change to the FedEx Cup standings. It used to be top 125, had a tour card, and going into the following year, now it's down to 70, and the top 70 then start, playing in the FedEx Cup. So it looks like there's even been a change since I pulled this up earlier today, and this could have been a result of the Olympic stuff. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, Victor Perez from France, who actually had a really good showing in the Olympics in his home country, has it looks like moved up a little bit. I thought Davis Riley was guy sitting on the bubble at 71. Davis Riley, who actually won a tournament, won the Colonial this year at Colonial, is actually on the bubble of not
Mm.
securing his card. Will he still have starts available? Yeah, he's going to have exemptions and all kinds of stuff. But, this is just, excluding recent winners, just based on this year's results. Guys that have won in the last couple of years, names that pop out are Kurt Kitayama, who won last year. Lucas Glover is at 76, who won last year and went on that incredible run at the end of last year where he couldn't. I mean, that dude hit like, I swear, 77 greens in a row at one point in time. It's
Yeah.
kind of nuts. Um, Adam Shank, who's always kind of near the top. Nikolai Hogard off the near the bubble. Keith Mitchell, names that we know. Adam Svensson, who's actually won a couple times on tour. Let's see if there's anybody else. Harry Hall. I'm waiting
Just
for Harry
one.
Hall to get a win. Like
He
he's
just
so
won
close. Oh, that's right. That's right. He won a couple
in the
weeks ago
playoff. Hmm.
with that chip in the
Yeah.
playoff. So he's not in danger, right? He's gonna be able to get
Yeah. He'll get
exemptions. You
starts.
know, it's
Yeah.
a crazy name that's on here who we mentioned earlier, Terrell Haddon. Terrell Haddon hadn't played on the PGA Tour since early part of the season. Still 96 on the FedEx Cup rankings. That's crazy to me. That also probably speaks to some of the guys that are lower on the list.
Hmm.
Um, how kind of poor their seasons have been for a guy who hasn't played in since early part of the year being on here. What do you think about this? I think we talked about this last year, but what are your feelings on the shorter list going from 125 to 70?
I mean, I told you this probably, or I mean, we probably did this last year, but I
We
mean,
did.
I told you my perfect number. 100 is playoffs is the first event. Have it as a cut, and then you go 100, 70, 50, 30. Keep it 4 events. Give these people a chance to make some money before they sit out for 4 months because they're not doing the fall series anymore, especially if you've accumulated enough FedEx points. You've already made yourself good for next year and to the events that you want. These are some of those, subsidiary events. You get 250 FedEx points for a win and stuff like that. Not really worth your time or the stress and of preparation and travel and being away from family or your home and stuff like that. I think if you make it 100, you give some people on that outer edge a chance to still give themselves some run, and then it's something to fight for. I don't know why they went 70, 50, 30. I mean, they're just losing out on money to me. It's
Yeah.
especially with the way that we just got more money put into the PGA. But I think the names that you gave just really brings a big spotlight to the people that just are consistent at making money on the tour. I
Yeah.
made a cut. I made a cut. I made another cut. Okay, all right. You're not winning, but you making cuts, so that means you're working your way up the FedEx point leaderboard. You're not completely missing points, right? Because you got to make the weekend to get any kind of points, any kind of any kind of accumulation like that. So for the people that won, unfortunately, the way that their system is working now, it's really not meaning nothing if you can't bring it around, for multiple weeks.
consistently. Yeah.
So, right. So, Davis Riley, for instance, you won a Colonial. Colonial is definitely what we would say a, highly touted event. You won that event, but what else have you done? I mean, are you like double digit miscuts and stuff like that? Like, that's the things like that you have to look at. So if you're not making cuts and you've only got one win, yeah, I'm gonna be on the bubble. So that to me is more frustrating than anything. That's what Ryan Palmer and who's our guy that won the Detroit Open? Man,
Um, Cam
Arizona.
Davis.
No, tall guy. He won like last year or 2 years ago or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, his name was just on the tip of my tongue. But like guys like that are in that like pretty much when we had the official fall series, that 125 to like 175 number. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
those are the thing, like those are the type players that need to be mad about them going to 70, 50, 30. That's what you need to be mad about. You don't need to be mad about your percentage of the money that you're getting from being, whatever amount. If you make cuts, you're gonna be in the FedEx playoffs. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think
again, what we
that's
always
very
talk
true.
about, play better.
Just as an example, just career wise, Davis Riley has played in 96 events and made the cut in 57. So, I mean, he's about 60% cuts made,
Mm-hmm.
just short of that. That kind of shows kind of what that is, right? So there's a lot of weeks where he's not making it to the weekend.
Right.
And yeah, that ends up biting you in the butt when you look at, let's pick out a random name. Uh, Justin Rose. He's 52nd in the standings. I love him or hate him. The man makes cuts, often plays the weekend. We
Mm-hmm.
see his face playing weekends, and he may be middling and somewhere in the top, 20, 30, whatever. But he made money, and he's just adding to those points every single week. Even though, again, look at another guy who's actually had a really respectable season, one earlier in the year, Jake Knapp. He's been playing a lot of weekends this year, and that pays off. He is currently 47th in the standings and locked in his card, even with the win, of course, but he's got a lot of stuff coming to him as a result
Yeah.
of that. So,
Elevated events he's about to get in next year and stuff like that too.
yeah, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, it's all a matter of consistency. Hey, Bobby, it's been a while, man. Let's pull this one up. Scottie Scheffler's run should have an asterisk due to live. Sucks, but he's definitely not playing the best competition out there.
Yeah,
I
because
think they may be able to.
Taylor Gooch is in it. That's the only reason why.
Shut up. When it comes to the majors, though, I think we're still in a good window where the live guys that have an opportunity to play are still there, right? Like Marcus joked, yeah, no Taylor Gooches, but a lot of those guys are still getting opportunities. We mentioned with Neiman getting some exemptions that maybe otherwise, I think there was some pressure to get him in the event. Those that are more deserving or played well. So that's why I kind of would like, just for Scotty's own edification, for him to win kind of one of these other ones outside of the
Yeah,
Masters, one of the, that has full fields and you're going to get as many of the live guys as
facts.
you absolutely can. I don't think
No,
you
I
can
agree.
take too much away from him. I mean, the Olympics this week was a good show of that, right? Rom's a
Yeah,
live guy. Neiman was up there with an opportunity, so they got a shot. they have a shot to take him out. So I wouldn't go crazy with the
I
kind of
don't think it's an asterisk
asterisks.
here.
No, no. Um, and then shout out to Carl Phillips, OG YouTube player since this show. Won Corn Ferry in Utah today. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, he won by like
Um,
three shots going away, or he bogeyed the last to win by two. But yeah, long time coming for the guy. I don't know much about him, but I do know the name. And the game that he played this week was just, I mean, you know how it goes when you're on a corn ferry. You really got to shoot like a 65 or a 64 every day. But he did it, and then on the last day he went it, he ran away with it. So I don't think it was ever really in question on that back nine what was happening. I think Phillips had it sewed up, but no, for sure. Congrats
yeah,
to him.
Austra- Australian kid. Okay, that's probably why I'm not super familiar, but hopefully much success to him. And I think we've talked about it very much so this year. Just getting new faces and new blood in the game. The talent is always going to be there. There's always guys out there to feed the system that are
Yeah,
ready to go out there, shoot low, and make a name for themselves. That to me is never going away. I think there's clearly more money in golf than there ever has been, and that's in
yeah.
multiple arenas. We the last week, the what do they call it, the Creator Cup deal that was
Mm-hmm.
announced between the PGA Tour and just getting
YouTube.
these. Yeah, then the YouTube guys that you guys are all familiar with that do a lot of the competitive stuff. We're moving into that era where those worlds are colliding. YouTube, is a great pathway for them to make a good living, as well as again get exposure. There's again more money in the PGA Tour, as we've mentioned, as a result of Live coming around and having to pay bigger purses. I think YouTube finances seem legit to me. We've long talked about the math doesn't necessarily math for what PGA Tour guys are getting paid in terms of business structure and
Yeah,
return on investment. Will Live ever get the return on the investment for what they've paid for these players? No. Will the PGA Tour over the last 2 to 3 years get a return on what they've been paying with these elevated purses? Likely not. I mean, they
mm-mm.
are built. It has built a star with Scottie Scheffler, and he's kind of stepping into that. But again, the realistic expectation of dollar for dollar return on your investment isn't likely. That's just what it is. But again, they're having to pay all this money to stay alive, and that's just part of what the reality is at this time. Over on the LPGA, Moria Jitanagarn got a win at the Portland Classic. Again, a lighter field with a lot of the heavy hitters heading over to Paris this week. I think, started landing earlier this week to get ready to go after the men. Looking forward to it. That course, I think, will play just as competitively for the ladies as it did for the men. They were
Yeah,
trying to line it up where a lot of the landing zones were going to be similar, and the courses and the holes, excuse me, would look very similar to what we saw with the men over the last 4 days. But Jitana Garn, what do you think about her getting her first win in quite some time? And her sister actually was competing near the top of the leaderboard as well.
Aria. Yeah. Well, randomly enough, I found the Jataragon sisters, and really like 2014, 2015 when we were really just getting started and everything like that. And then random enough, like I said, she had an all blacked out Scotty Cameron like wide blade that I just fell in love with, and ever since then I've just been a fan. And she's got a very unique swing, just like most of women do, just because they have to figure out how to get it around, whether they be short, tall, or whatever their body build may be. She's a shorter girl. She's like 5'1", 5'2". So she's got a real flat swing right behind her, more rotary than anything, but still pokes it out there a long ways. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think, like, when you think about golfers that shock you with distance, she's one of them. And just like any other women on the LPGA tour, you got to make putts when you have a chance to, and she did this week. So good on her for doing that, and I guess it's set up for her A real, tree line Portland. I mean, just like a Pacific Northwest coast. I mean, of course, you've been out there,
Yep.
so you know how tree and wooded it is. So it looked like a really good course. All the greens looked fun. And yeah, there was only one Olympic competitor out there, Didi Ashok. And she said she's like, and they apparently on the covers, they said she's flying out tonight. So all the way from
Wow.
Portland to Paris, probably a couple of stops along the way, but um, yeah, I guess she's just trying to get it in. I mean, I think she's really just trying to take advantage of her prime and making sure she gets in all the golf that she can while she's playing well. So she's going to take every start she can and every dollar she can until she can't play anymore. So, she probably not as well off as a Nelly or a Lilia or, a Charlie or a Georgia, but Georgia and
Yeah.
Charlie, they didn't play this event. They went home after their last major or whatever, and they just been hanging out. And they played like that Aramco series that Nelly pulled out of. So they've been home for a while. Boutier has been at the crib. And then, yeah, a lot of those golfers are already, European or Asian. And so they've already been close by or at least on that side of the planet. So hopefully it doesn't play into what Ashok is trying to do and win gold for Pakistan or win a medal for her home
No,
country and
she's
whatnot.
India.
She's Indian. My
Isn't she from
apologies.
India? Yeah. Don't
My
don't
apologies, friends.
misidentify. Come on
Yeah,
now.
no, we
Um
just talking about the Olympics. Countries matter.
on the odd scale, Nelly Corda, she's plus 470. She's the top odds to win.
Yeah,
Theaetical, she is Gino, call her Gino. Lilia Vu, not plus 900. Jin Young Ko, plus 1100. Brooke Henderson from Canada, 1600. Minji Lee, Australia, 1600. Lynn Grant, 1600. Rose Zhang, 1800. And those are our three ladies, Zhang, Vu, and Corda. So shout out to those ladies. Again, rooting for US always. That's it. This is the one week it is absolutely okay to root against people because of where they're from. Just that's it. Seriously, Live will have a lifetime voice and say in the PGA for less than the price of one NFL and team now. Who is winning? Step back, catch your breath. Let me read this again, just so I can make sure I understand. Uh, we can agree to disagree. I do math, and I'm a business person, and the P&Ls for Live are pretty bloody. All the other stuff that they got going on and what they're trying to get into golf for, I don't speak on that. That's not my arena. But if we're talking balls and strikes, dollars and cents, profit and loss statements, I say what I say. Again, I never back down on that. Again, I don't speak on the politics or sports washing aspect of it. That's not what I commentate on. I strictly talk about the money side of it. And yes, they have money to spend, but even then, um, you know, they got money to spend, but even then, their priorities are switching. I think we've talked about this kind of offline and even on the show. What was that community that they were trying to build? The Line City,
hmm
that they've even had to revise their plans for that. I'm just saying. Um, yeah, man. I don't know, but whatever. What you got to say, Marcus? I know you're stroking that beard over there. What you got to say?
I mean, I'm just wondering why the NFL is involved in a golf niche sport talk. I thought, I thought we got flamed on YouTube for not being able to talk about golf, but here football is being brought up. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. But no, you
I
got
think
it.
that
You got it, Tigers,
no, you got
Tigers
it.
World. I mean, it's fine.
I think
Um,
when it comes to live, I hate that people get emotional about it. Um, and this is the comparison I make. I wouldn't defend anybody that wouldn't pee on me if I was on fire. So yeah, man.
yeah, I mean,
I
they're
get it.
gonna
It's
have
about
a
money.
boy.
You're talking about they're gonna have there. It's about. I get it. I get the argument that you're making, but it doesn't return. They're
They're
just
gonna have a
spending it.
voice in golf because of the split that they've created. So that's also true. That has nothing to do with money. But I mean, money's always going to be something like that. Right. So why are we talking about we're talking about golf though. So why are we bringing up lawyers? That I mean that has nothing to do with what we got
It's
going
all
on
good.
with
It's
golf.
all good. Anyway, you got any other topics, bro, before we wrap
Yeah,
it up for today?
oh yeah, I was thinking like so the whole Korean War service thing. Is that not one of the
Hmm?
toughest things, bro?
You have
Tom
to catch me
Kim
up.
and Tom Kim and Beyond
Oh,
on they like if they don't
you
win gold or do something spectacular or extraordinary for the country, they everybody has a mandatory sentence. Like it's kind of like what happened with Lauri Markkinen for Finland. He had to go
oh yeah,
for 6 months and he did it over the summer. So he did miss any basketball time. He missed FIBA last year. That's fine. Finland wasn't doing anything in the basketball season anyway, or in FIBA or, nationally, Olympic qualifying, any of that stuff. But I just think that's a tough situation. Like they don't even have, although they're, I mean, you've heard their accents, you've seen them play. They're pretty much Americanized and stateside at this point. I mean, Tom Kim has his traditional Korean name, but when he's
yeah,
presented and when he's announced, he goes by Tom Kim. But he's
right.
still having to deal with this Korean background of what's going on there. It's just, I mean, to me, I'm sad because like
When
his
does he? When
livelihood
does he
is
have to
golf.
meet that obligation?
It's by the time he turned 27 or something like that. Because Siwoo Kim last Olympics for when he went to Tokyo, he was talking about it and had to fight for that and didn't produce. And that's the thing. They could have just got a bronze. They didn't even have to win gold. They just could have got
Yeah,
a bronze and skated that. So I think it was a lot more on the line for Tom Kim. Ben On, I don't think he really had a chance. He wasn't really up there like Tom Kim was on
right.
Sunday. But Tom Kim, I don't know. Then they showed him in the scores table afterwards because he played in Scottie Scheffler's threesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they show him and he's like wiping tears off. I don't know if that was because he's realizing that he's got to end up serving some, at least going into the army and registering and stuff like that, or if he was just, sad because he had a bad last round at the Olympics. Because to
Yeah,
me, it could be one and the same. He could be that much of a competitor and be mad that he played that poorly when it mattered the most, but it also could be why
well,
or the
well.
implications of it.
There's a there's a Golf Digest article that does not being able to medal and avoid the service what caused the emotional breakdown at the end there.
It was
So
already okay.
yeah, yeah, that was posted a little bit earlier today. So that does suck. Um, you know, plan for a little bit more than yourself. So yeah, like you said, being on was facing the same situation. I'm trying to think of the guy a few years ago that God he started to make it back, but hadn't been doing very well.
Siwoo Kim,
That also went through a similar. No, it was not Siwoo Kim. I know he also did it, but there was another guy,
Sang Moon Bay.
Sang Moon Bay, that also went through a similar
Yeah,
required service. So it's like I said, it's kind of it is what it is.
you know what?
When
Theirs
two
might be like two
countries,
years.
yeah, I think it's two or three, but definitely unfortunate. So shout out to those guys, and hopefully he's able to power through and recover. Once he's able to come back or whatever the case may be. But
Yeah,
yeah, all right, man. That's it for today, man. Light week. It's gonna be very light next week. Also, well, I shouldn't say that because we're gonna be talking about the results from the Wyndham. We'll be talking about the ladies Olympics
yeah, and the
results as well.
playoffs and
So
coming and stuff.
Yeah, so plenty of stuff. So light week this week. Keeping it under an hour. Bearder Bros Golf Show. We'll be back at it again. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Catch y'all later. Peace.